today is Tuesday. That means that we get to spend some time
learning
now from a nun.
Yeah.
Right? Nun Sense is our newest feature, and boy, this is a whole lot of fun. We've had Sister Réjane in on before, and happy to have Sister Réjane back. She's the executive director of a Nun's Life Ministry, a wonderful podcast, and she's a member of the Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth, Kansas. Has a bachelor's degree in anthropology from the University of Notre Dame and a master's degree, well, actually, more than one, in education and in earth literacy. The only burning question is, why is someone of this caliber willing to join the likes of the two of us? Good morning, sister.
Good morning, Ron and Dave. How are you both this morning?
Well, we're doing well, and we want to practice a little humility as we stand in your presence, but we are looking forward to our conversation today about humility in this place and time.
Thank you. Yes, and got to bring in Notre Dame for this one.
There we go.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Tough weekend this past weekend, sister.
I know. I say that with a little humility itself. Oh, my gosh. Yes. Today, my lesson is that life is a long lesson in humility, and it was really my grandpa Cytacki, that taught me that. He wrote it in his own hand in calligraphy when he was retired and framed it on a plaque and hung it on his wall, right at the front entrance. Right. So every time I came to visit, and now he lived in South Bend. So when I attended Notre Dame, I'd go visit a lot and I'd see that. And I never asked why he treasured those words, that life is a long lesson in humility, but I had a profound experience at Notre Dame that kind of shone the light on it. So in 94, yes, I'm dating myself. I was a junior at Notre Dame, and as we know, football is a big deal. So I got roped into playing flag football with the women's dorms would do it. So, but we didn't have the pads, right? So we ended up in a lot more injuries, and so. But it was very intense, let me tell you. We had 6 days of practice and a game, and I made the mistake of buying really cheap shoes and cleats, I ended up with shin splints. So for the listeners, if you have anything, invest in your footwear for sports, because those shin splints and those cleats set me up for going up on a cold November night for a pass. And I got a leg cramp, and my foot locked up, and so I broke a bone in my leg.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that really was not what I was expecting. So needless to say, I met my grandpa at the orthopedic emergency room first, right? And then saw a surgeon, and I ended up without surgery, thank God, but crutches and a cast. And and the surgeon kind of yelled at me because he's like, I see women in here all the time. Why aren't you wearing pads? You wore pads, you wouldn't have this problem. Like, I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
I didn't make the rules.
I didn't make
Nobody told me. I just played.
That was kind of a shock. I wasn't expecting that. So anyway, I go back to my dorm. Well, my dorm was Lions Hall, but there's no elevator. And so they gave me a first floor study room. And that was my bedroom, which was kind of funny because at 3 a.m. in the morning, someone would come in to sharpen their pencil. They'd wake me up. They'd be like, I'm so sorry. So, but, I made do. And then, God love my roommates. They would go to the dining hall, get me food, because the first week I couldn't put any weight on it. And then finally I could get back and hobbling with those crutches. But, Notre Dame's I figured out it's not handicap accessible. And so they had volunteer students driving golf carts, and that's how I got to and from class. But they were volunteers, so sometimes they wouldn't show up. So now I'm on the phone with my rector, Sister Kathleen, and she's giving me rides. So needless to say, this was went on for about 3 weeks. I was really frustrated, by that time. And my grandparents are checking in on me and they're like, hey, it's now Thanksgiving. Do you want us to drive you back home to Kansas? And I was like, oh yes. I need some TLC from Mom and Dad. So that day that Grandpa picked me up, it will be forever etched in my memory. Because, as I'm being greeted by him at the front door, and he's holding my bag and he has a cane and, there's stairs down to the parking lot. So he's got my bag and a cane. I've got my 2 crutches. So we're slowly making our way down the stairs. And it was we started joking around and, we kind of said, well, we're just 2 gimpers, one in their 70s. He's in his 70s. I'm in my 20s. And then there's the Notre Dame thing, win one for the Gipper.
Oh, yeah.
Win one for the Gippers.
That's the big question, sister. Did they win the football game that day? That's the thing.
They did. My team did win.
There you go.
And then this is the best part. Then when we actually won the whole thing. And so the championship game, of course I'm there in my crutches, but the championship game is in the stadium, right?
Oh my
And at
goodness.
the time, Lou Holtz was the coach, he was there. It was it's really, I'm not kidding you. I played, sports club sports, and playing flag football at Notre Dame was way more intense.
God, I love that. I didn't realize that flag football was that intense at the collegiate level there, and particularly at Notre Dame.
Yes, for sure. Oh,
that's
for
amazing.
sure. So it was. So kind of back, so here we are. Grandpa and I are joking around about, winning one for the Gimpers. And,
Gimpers.
I know, instead of Gippers, Gimpers, right? Do you get it?
Yeah, that's fabulous.
But it just kind of, I had an aha moment in that laughing, oh my gosh, he gets what I'm going through, right?
Yeah.
Because he's hobbling too. And I thought, this is what he means. This is what life is, a long lesson in humility, right? Because so much in our culture, we put emphasis and value on, efficiency, speed, and independence. And what my grandpa taught me and my injury taught me was, those aren't necessarily what matters the most. It's humility is to slow down and be vulnerable in our needs, and that in turn allows us to express empathy for those who need help around us. Just kind of
absolutely
like Grandpa
love it.
Joking with me,
That's a painful lesson in humility, but that's a great lesson.
For me to get an injury, right? I know, but he was such a good Catholic. Yeah, I love him. He died, but I have the plaque in my hallway.
We're going to honor you as we go out here. 3, 2, 1. Rudy, 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 Rudy. Thank you, sister.
I was there when that was filmed. Maybe that'll be another story. Okay.
Love it.
I can't wait to get you back on for that story. Sister Réjane, thank you so much.
Yay, thanks.
Have
Bye.
a wonderful day.
You do the
Nun's
same.
Life Ministry. Check out that podcast. And we'll be right back here on Morning Offering. Ron and Dave and producer Tim and you. And that completes the circle, I think. So we'll be right back.